I'd request all the alumni who have connected with us through YouTube to drop in their questions, if any, in the YouTube live chat box, which will be picked up at the end. Good evening to one and all present. I am Sharath, and I am the convener of the Guest Lectures Committee, and I am honored to be your host today. Along with me is Ashmita, my co-host. We, the Guest Lectures Committee, bring to you the first conversation of the current academic year under Careers and Conversation, an elite and exclusive platform to rendezvous with eminent speakers from different walks of life, reminiscing about their personal and professional voyages. This platform aims to provide ample learning opportunities through real-life stories to faculty, students, and alumni alike. Today, we ponder on the topic of embracing change, staying relevant, with one such personality. I'd request my co-host Ashmita to shed some light about him.
Thank you so much, Sharath. So today, on the first conversation of this academic year, it is our honor to host and converse with Mr. Dhiraj Relli, the visionary managing director and CEO of HDFC Securities, for a captivating conversation on embracing change, staying relevant. Mr. Relli's exceptional leadership has been instrumental in transforming HDFC Securities into a leading financial services player. His deep understanding of the financial markets and his ability to navigate through challenges make him an ideal mentor for aspiring professionals. Sir has also 3 decades of experience in the financial sector, primarily in the HDFC Group since 2008, initially in HDFC Bank, and now as the head of HDFC Securities for almost a decade. Prior to this, he has also worked with ICICI Bank and holds a chartered accountant qualification and has been a part of the advanced management program at IIM Bangalore. We are truly honored to have Mr. Relli share his invaluable insights with our community. His contributions to the Indian financial landscape are commendable. Before we further proceed, I would like to invite our director, Raman Ramachandran sir, to felicitate our guest with a shawl and briefly address the audience. This shawl is from Somaiya Kala Vidya and is hand-woven by the artisans of Kutch. So, if you could say a few words.
Good afternoon. So we were all kind of worried, how many of you are going to turn up, given it's a rainy day, and I'm really happy to see this. Such a large turnout for the first of our, Careers and Conversation, the first of the second season of Careers and Conversation. I think by now you know the importance of this, right? This is part of what we call as your Student Progression Index, which besides tracking your academic performance in your classes, in your exams as CGPA, also looks at a number of other factors, or a number of other parameters to ensure that your transformation, and again remember our purpose is transforming together, that you're all here to transform into business leaders with a purpose and values, right? And we are here to enable that transformational journey. And that transformational journey does not happen only in the classrooms, it happens outside to a great extent in the classroom, whether it is in the sports field, whether it is, the articles that we ask you to read every week or every second week from either the Economist or the Ken, and then reflect on some of those articles related to what you learn in the classroom, to the certifications that we encourage you to go and get on your own, which will show the, the potential future hirer that you are able to go beyond your comfort zone, you are able to actually, stretch yourself to achieve more. And these are the things that organizations are today looking for in their young employees. Yeah, so sports I already mentioned, and also how, your kind of level of participation in competitions, etc. So this is the student progression index. We are actually going to release the progression index of the first years, which kind of indicates how they have progressed, the 650 of them. So, and careers and conversations are very, very important part of that transformational journey, important part of that student progression index. Because very rarely you will get to hear the wisdom of people who have made it to the top, right? And to hear directly from them about what made them achieve that, what are the kind of difficult decisions that they took, what are the, how did they kind of push themselves out of comfort zone, what breaks did they get, what mentors did they have, what were their personal qualities which perhaps led them to where they are. This you cannot study in books, and this careers and conversation is something that will give you this great opportunity to listen to these kinds of experiences from people who have already made it. And today I'm so happy to have Dhiraj here. Obviously you heard his accomplishments, his credentials. Who better than to actually start this second series of careers and conversation and share his experience, his journey to this significant accomplishment that he already has achieved in this young age. So with that, Dhiraj, thank you very much. And Arun Thukral is Professor of Practice who has been leading the careers and conversations from the first season. And he will actually be hosting this conversation with Dhiraj. So thank you again. And I encourage you to kind of listen, reflect, and perhaps even share your thoughts on social media about what you learned from this. Yeah. Okay, with that, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. So, as sir mentioned, the conversation will be led by Arun Thukral, sir, who is the Guest Lectures Committee Faculty Head and is also a Professor of Practice in Finance and leads Corporate Relations at Somaiya Institute of Management. Now, I would request you, sir, to begin our session on embracing change and staying relevant.
Thank you, Ashmita. Thanks, Dhiraj. Thanks for visiting us. So we are really excited to hear your stories, and because the markets are very, very hot, and I think students today, they have already approached me and they have a lot of questions for you. But first thing first, maybe we would want to know about your early career, how this journey started.
Thank you, Arun. Am I audible to you guys? Yes. Yep. Thank you, Arun, for having me here. It's good to be back at the campus. When I was entering the campus, I didn't realize that this is such a large, huge campus. So happy to know that it's a 60-acre campus, and so many of you are fulfilling your aspirations through this campus and these institutes. So let me tell you about myself. I born and brought up in Delhi, basically. So in our times, the career choices used to get decided mostly in the school only. There was science, commerce, arts, that's about it. Very limited options. And I may be sounding a bit old to you guys, but that was it. In today's world, you have many more choices. You can change your stream and all. But because my brother took commerce, I took commerce. As simple as that. I was doing my BCom honors. He started doing his chartered accountancy. So that was my inspiration, that he is going to do chartered accountancy. Let me also do the same. But I had different flair, but I continued to follow his path and did my chartered accountancy. In second year of college, I wanted to be part of a big firm, big office. As a college student, you have a fancy for a MNC kind of an office where, huge office, good environment, good ecosystem. That's what you look at as a young student. You are not so much perturbed or interested in what you will learn, what you will get there, but these were the thoughts. So I started to do some research at my level, and I remember in second year of my college, I visited Ernst & Young office. S.R. Botley was representing Ernst & Young in India at that time. So I visited their office, given a small half-a-page resume. There was nothing much to mention actually in the resume, but I handed over to them and they said, don't worry, we're not going to consider it because we'll only consider it once you are in third year. Anyway, I just left there only, but kind of had a manifestation or a dream that I will join this company. They used to take only 20 article clerks at that time, and getting there was very, very difficult. Somehow I navigated that, scored well in my BCom honors, did well, appeared for interviews and could get through with bit of a work, but I could get through in SR Botley and Company. That was my start, and I started to do chartered accountancy, and I can talk more about it, but over to you.
No, thank you. I think you are right actually. Those days not many choices, and if your elder brother is doing CA, so I think you would also follow him. And obviously today students have lot of choices, lot of career counseling and all. And so we have seen people here who have just gone in the flow, whatever comes they have taken it, and we have seen CEOs who have planned their life. So basically if you have to succeed, you will succeed one way, but the path may be different. So were there any mentors or advisor when you were venturing into this, or you maybe joined some organization, shifted to some other organization, somebody guiding you, anybody comes to your mind?
I think SR Botley and Company was full of stalwarts. They were all chartered accountants and senior partners, and then in the chartered accountancy course you get exposed to the industry very fast. So the moment you join them, they send you after small induction to various audits. So that's where you meet industry leaders, and that's where from you pick up, and I have had many industry leaders who could help me, guide me at that time, what you can do, what are your options, how you can focus, what you can learn. Like one of my chartered accountant senior told me, if you are finalizing a balance sheet for the first time, put your heart and soul to it. If you learn it for the first time, right, then you will be able to take this forward and you will get more confident about it. So I think that was a very, very good advice. There was a chartered accountant, Anil Goyal at that time, who gave me this advice. So like that, I have had many mentors, because the beauty of this kind of assignment was that you could go and stay at various corporates in their guest houses or in some hotels and work along with them for period of 45 days to 60 days and then move on to another assignment. So it was more of a consulting, auditing, internal audits assignment. So you could move from one assignment to another assignment, one industry to another industry also. So like, right, my first experience was in the steel industry, then was in textile industry, then was into financial services and so on.
Tell us something about your HDFC career. So you became CEO. Before that you worked in bank. Before that you worked in ICICI Bank, Centurion Bank and all. But how this happened?
I'll tell you. I think before I jumped to my career, I did my chartered accountancy because my brother was doing it, few more cousins were doing it also. But I was very clear that I want to do more business, not so much accounting. My personality, my temperament was a little bit more outgoing than at that time people who were pursuing the chartered accountancy. So I was very clear on that front. So I decided that I will not be focusing on an accounting side of it. My academic qualifications can be anything, but I'll focus more on a business management side. And that's where I started to pursue in the financial services space, and more in the marketing side, more into the sales side, more into business side, rather than focusing on hardcore accounting side. You could get easy success if you back your education. You are a chartered accountant, you take an accounting job, you take an auditing job, you will get immediate success. But if you choose a different path, you will have to work along with a different kind of people who come from a different background, different experience, different genre also. So you have to compete differently. So I chose that as an option. So my first advice to each one of you, to follow your heart, follow your passion, and do what you like to do, because if you are able to put your heart and soul in something you like, you're passionate about, you will get the best outcome in that particular activity. So that's first advice. So I did that, and 1999 I got an opportunity to work with ICICI Capital Services. That time the financial services space, investment ecosystem, DMAT, mutual funds, they were just very new concepts, and they were just coming in India and opening up. So that fascinated me a lot more. I was product manager for mutual funds in 99. So I could able to teach half of the industry on the mutual fund. So that was very fascinating for me. And from there on, when ICICI Capital got merged in 2002 with ICICI Bank, I moved on there and then made one more career move only that enabled me to move to HDFC Bank. So retail banking, retail distribution, retail activities were my passion. I always wanted to run large businesses. And in India, particularly at that time, other than the FMCG where you would get a large retail franchise, banks were coming up and they were opening and adding distribution branches. So I wanted a large job size. That's where I worked in that. In 2008, I was managing a large 800,000 branches for HDFC Bank. So from there on, I was managing different geographies. My last assignment with HDFC Bank ended in 2015 when I was managing South and Central India. So 5 states of South and then managing Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, some of those areas based at Bangalore. So I could move cities also. I lived in different cities because that also actually opened up opportunities for me, also gave me a very different perspective about the people. You know, if you are confining it to one particular geography or one particular ecosystem, you can have only finite learning about people, about processes and about ecosystem. So it's also important. The second message I want to leave you with is that be more flexible, adaptable and ready to move geographies if you really wish to learn more. And don't be constrained by that I am born and brought up in Mumbai, Maharashtra, I will stay around in this place only. So you will be limiting your choices, you will be limiting your options. And in 2016, I moved into HDFC Securities as a CEO.
Great, great. I think that's a great advice. So you are saying that you got into accounts. So what happens is in the management school also you will not get your dream company always. So maybe first get a job and then over a period of time life would give you an opportunity and you have to pick up that. So you got into capital market, you got into retail banking and start thinking big. I think that's what you said, you wanted to run large businesses. So I think this is how it, so what is, when this love for stock market happened, so when you were in capital market and you wanted to get into this post, once seen that and once you realized that obviously HDFC Security maybe one option or opportunity came and you picked it up. Is there any specific eureka moment when you got this assignment? Because this is where you are for last many years now and you are doing great.
So this is not now that I have been fascinated with the capital market. When I was doing my CA, that's when I was visiting a lot of companies and you end up interacting with the people from finance only, and finance people are generally more evolved and they were all investing into their own companies or stock market even back then also. So I started to do some research in the market even in 1995 or so. In fact, I used to write a research report using the Dalal Street software and sell those research report because they were white labeled by someone else, not my name, and I could earn my pocket money with that. So that is where from I started writing about various companies, my reports. So I started to invest even at that time also. So I think I was investing in 90s, I was investing in stock market in early 2000 also on my own. So in fact I used to say that if market remains at a lower levels, right now it's okay because I am in an accumulation stage of my life. Whatever little bit I am earning, if I am able to save something, probably when market will go up, this will be a big wealth creation opportunity for me. So that's how I started to get fascinated about the markets.
Yeah. So I know about this passion and we have been contemporary and we have traveled together and we have discussed this many times, but I wanted you to tell this to students also. And over a period of time, I know that many of your juniors who have interacted in several seminars and all that you are a great leader. So maybe I wanted to know your leadership style at your organization.
I think there is no one leadership style that is a good leadership style. I think what works well for you is what you should follow. I have seen people who are adopting delegative leadership styles and still doing very well. and there are people who are having a very involved leadership style, they are also doing well. I chose the latter part of it, the involved leadership style. I'm passionate about what I do, so I want to have more control, more hands-on, more involved along with my team members. Doesn't mean that I don't delegate, do not give them empowerment, but I feel that involved leadership style is what works better for me. That's why I've been working on an involved leadership style.
And same goes with your customer and your client engagement strategy, and you are obsessed with this customer service thought. So maybe a little bit on that.
Yeah. So basically, we have to tell our colleagues, our employees and ourselves that it is the customer, it is your clients who pay for your salaries, who pay for your all expenses. So that is where you need not to be just passionate, you need to be obsessed with your customers. If you're not doing best for your customers, if you're not creating a wow experience for them, you will not be able to continue to win them forever. Today in broking or financial services space, almost all other businesses also, we have enough and more competition available. The choices are available with the customers, students and everyone. So you really need to ensure that you become customer obsessed and not just even customer centric. I think you would be hearing in your lectures that one need to be customer centric. I think if you go and see the successful companies, you will realize the companies that are successful are the one who are obsessed with their customers and not just about customer centric.
Great. And I think over the last few years, I have seen that the kind of innovation your company is doing, whether it is HDFC Sky and other such products or services, solutions. So this culture of innovation and collaboration, something on that, because you are doing great work in the industry. This is what I hear.
I take that as a compliment. Thank you.
It is a
and
compliment.
particularly coming from a industry stalwart and a colleague like you, I take that as a compliment. Let me tell you, our industry, broking industry per se, have been royally disrupted in last decade or so. We have seen emergence of new tech-led discount brokerage houses coming out with a very clean, neat, user-friendly platforms and reducing the cost of investing, democratizing the investment ecosystem. So we've been seeing a emergence of new players. So when you are a legacy player, you need to understand that there are disruptors in the market. So you have to take disruption on your stride and in your own way respond to it. There is no need for you to react to it, but you need to respond to the disruption in the market, and that's very, very important and critical. If you do not accept disruption first, then respond to the disruption in a very calibrated manner, then you will be out of the business. You all will be aware of the examples of Nokias of the world, so I don't want to throw more light on the same. But in today's world, if you really want to stay relevant, then you need to be on the edge. You need to know the changed aptitude, behavior, expectations of your customers, your target segments, and accordingly deliver even ahead of time. But we could not. Actually, honestly speaking, we were disrupted and then we responded to the disruption and then disrupted the disruptors in many forms and shapes. So that's what we have been doing. For us as a legacy player, I think it's disrupting the disruptors. But when you go for your assignments, you should always have a different mindset that you should always challenge the status quo. If this is particular way of doing the business, why I cannot do it differently? I think that's the mindset. If you take it forward, then you will stay relevant all the time. So in a way, my third leadership lesson for you to be always non-conformist. And it is not in a negative sense, negative connotation. It is more into the positive connotation. You need to be maverick, challenging the status quo and try and improve that.
Yeah, great. I think you are giving a lot of nuggets. So the broking landscape for the next 10 years. So getting disrupted and then disrupting the disruptor. What would happen now? now artificial intelligence, and I know every day we hear about this, jobs would go, digital onboarding, and lot of things, like everything AI is doing. Now whatever we hear, so where you see our industry or the broking industry, or wealth management industry?
I think first we were disrupted by the new age tech-led discount brokers. Now we are going through a massive disruption by the regulators themselves. I am sure you would have got some pulse on that how regulator is changing the whole ecosystem, and this disruption is really a good positive disruption for the creating a safe, secure and sustainable ecosystem for investments. India is a different country and we are at a different stage from progressing from a $2,500 per capita to progressing towards a $5,000 and probably in next 10-15 years time reach about $12,000 per capita. We need to have very sustained, secure kind of a model or a construct. I think the current SEBI chief Madhuri Buch is doing all possible great effort to ensure that we could get into that kind of a construct which is very good, very convenient as well as secure for the customers at large. So look, what is the mindset of the regulators? That customers' money and customers' securities should go seamlessly and a broker should not have a much control on the same. So that's why T+1 settlement, now aspirations for T+0 settlement. For your understanding, all this mean is that you sell shares today and you get money right now in your account. That's the aspiration. And then also features like ASBA are already on, whereby you know the money gets debited only when you get the allotment in the IPO. So you're not actually your money is not moving out of your bank account till the time you get allotment in IPO. Rolling out similar initiative in the secondary market space means also if you place an order to buy certain share and if order is getting executed, then only money will get debited from your account, are the kind of path-breaking regulatory changes which would make the broking and investment landscape to a next level. And we are probably way ahead of the Western world also in the settlement and in terms of pledging and repledging of customers' securities. So I think this is very good, very positive. Moving on, I think we all are well aware that how generative AI is going to be coming to our industry as a tsunami. We have just started to get some use cases. Earlier AI was something people were talking about it. Few use cases were there for artificial intelligence. Companies like ours were using it to optimize certain processes, certain operations or so on. But generative AI is a very different animal altogether. So it would really disrupt how we navigate, how we manage information, how we know our customers, how do we execute the trades. So I think it's a big leap, and all of us are in the processes whereby we are learning. From last year to now, we have moved at that stage where we were looking at it as a concept to now use cases and putting marketing dollars and some dollars to experiment these use cases. That's where we are. I'm sure the outcome will be magical.
Yeah. So SEBI, you spoke about SEBI, and so they are also now helping you, basically firing on all cylinders. So you are customer obsessed, they are saying you give them money same day. So maybe we are giving T+2 and T+1 and T+0. So that is so there is another. So they have introduced a new asset class. So maybe something on that, yeah, which is they are positioning somewhere in between mutual fund and PMS. And second, a little complicated. How are you affected is their guidelines on finfluencers. So I want you to comment on these two.
I think I'll take first the last part of the question, finfluencers. We all know that we are extensively using social media. I think all of us are spending more time on social media than ever before, and even more than the rest of the world also. Average number of hours we spend on social media are close to 4 hours a day, which is much higher than the Western world average also. Which clearly means that the social media has its own influence on our decision making also across all the areas. But this is one area where people are investing their hard-earned money, and people who are not qualified, semi-qualified, or are not registered with the SEBI as research analysts, with their little or basic understanding about the markets, very limited experience, they are coming on social media and giving any possible advice, any possible recommendation, and that too it comes with an absolute no accountability at all. Tomorrow they can vanish from the social media and you have no handle on them. So that's where I think it was required that we need to do something about it. It's hard to crack. Some initiatives are taken by SEBI, but it is a very big menace. It can't be handled with few regulatory changes. I think it would require far more evolution for us, and far more awareness to be created by players like HDFC Securities, SEBI, exchanges, to ensure that the investors look forward to take advice only from the SEBI registered analysts and not from any Tom, Dick and Harry.
Yeah, so journey has started. And the second part, the new asset class.
Yeah, new asset class. I think one thing I want to tell you that in India, our regulators and their approach and their proactive thinking is much ahead of the actually Western world and evolved countries and developed countries also. So to that extent, if you see all our regulators, not just SEBI, IRDA, Reserve Bank of India, they all work in a very proactive and systematic manner and in a calibrated manner, deep diving into the problems, and always have an intent to ensure that the investors, consumer interests are protected and taken care of. That's where the SEBI in particularly in last few years, after some issue with one of the brokerage houses, have been taking significant measures to ensure that the whole broking ecosystem, whole capital market ecosystem is far more secure, safe and sustainable, and financialization of savings, what we are seeing, should flourish. And I will tell you about a little bit more about the equitization of savings also in some time. But coming back to the creating an ecosystem or a construct, SEBI is taking proactive steps. There was a need. So you have mutual funds where you can invest any amount, right from most of the schemes have 500 to any amount you can invest in those schemes. Then earlier we had one category of particular portfolio management services at 25 lakhs. They increased the threshold to 50 lakhs. The purpose of increasing the threshold to 50 lakh was then when somebody is putting in such large amount, then they'll be more calibrated, they'll be more informed about that particular product. So it's not that without knowing about the product they are entering in that product. So that's where they introduced and increased the threshold. For alternative investment funds, you see AIFs, the minimum amount investment required is 1 crore. So all that, these thresholds were introduced to safeguard the interest of the investors at large. And now there is a discussion paper on the new asset class, which is 10 lakh to 50 lakh. Again, some more freedom has been given to the fund managers. They can take exposure into, they can have more concentrated portfolios like portfolio management services, but they'll not be part of the mutual fund. They'll be a separate asset class for the same. I think it requires far more calibration, discussion how this will come and who would be actually optimizing it or utilizing it. Mass affluent customer is a huge segment for us, and it's a growing segment. So India is actually not a pyramid. I think it's more like a diamond growing from all sides. So that's where we need to take care of a mass affluent segment also. I think this product will be a great product for them.
And maybe we would expect some offering coming.
Yeah, so we at HDFC Securities not only do the full service broking, discount broking, also we do distribution of mutual funds, portfolio management services, AIFs, some fixed deposits and some other products like sovereign gold bond and so on. So our aspiration is to be a full service provider when it comes to the managing our clients' investments.
Okay. So before I move on, one more question on regulator. but this time your parents regulator, that is RBI. So recently RBI governor talked about that, worrying about that CD ratio in banks, and there is a discussion all along. We hear that lot of deposits are moving into capital markets, and everybody has his own view. So maybe want to know your view. What do you think about this?
So what I could gather, Reserve Bank of India governor mentioned that there should be some tax benefits for the interest, because right now interest is taxable at a marginal rate, so that people can be inclined towards the fixed deposit also. That was one ask, and as the governor, I think he's well within his right to put up his request, though we didn't get that kind of a change in the yesterday's budget. But coming back to the larger subject, I don't think so equitization of savings or equitization of investments, which means clearly investors investing more sum of money into the equity market, either through a mutual fund route or through the direct equity route, in any way is cannibalizing the liabilities business of banks. Ultimately it will go to the banking ecosystem. It's not, money is not going out of the banking ecosystem. So whether in secondary market there are two legs of transaction. One person is selling, another person is buying. So in money is getting debited from a person's A's account and getting credited to person B's account. So it remains largely in the system. Even if it is getting invested into the mutual funds, or promoters are taking out their money through the IPO route, everything is coming back to the banking system. So I don't think so in any way this can be any concern for anybody, that if people are investing into capital market or if people are investing into the equities, this money will go out of the banking system. So I think it's a myth, I would say.
Yeah. But this debate is all over, as you have seen also. So maybe I thought your reaction to that. And you spoke about budget. So before I get into budget, I wanted to talk about your CSR efforts of the company and personal level, what you love and what you do. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So in any corporate social responsibility, I think you can only be successful if you can be a bit more inclusive, and you also involve your own employees also. It's not about giving money. You can actually get rid of your social responsibility by giving money to the some Prime Minister fund also, or by doing some really hardcore activities. So at HDFC Group, we strongly believe that we need to give back to the society. So each of our companies have their own charter on corporate social responsibility, and I'll talk about us. We have been doing a lot of focus on the education side, we've been focusing on the healthcare side, and we have been trying to get our employees involved in this. So I'll talk about few things with you. With Jaggi Sadhguru Isha Foundation, we've been in last 5 years sponsoring the education for the students who can't afford education at all. I think they charge 12,000 to 15,000 rupees per student. We pay their fee. Thousands of students' fee every year get paid from us. We check their academic records, their report cards, their progress, and we go and meet them. Our employees locally go and meet them also, guide them also. So that's how we get involved with Isha Foundation. And then Yuva Unstoppable is another partner for us, who have been working on the government schools. And over 200 government schools we have actually renovated, reconstructed their toilets, their libraries, and even given them Google Classroom also, because teachers are not coming on time, students are not coming because facilities are not good enough. So we've been working along with them on this side. We have also worked on giving various ambulances to border security force and some other activities like that. So healthcare side, there are a few hospitals where we work very closely with them, and we give the students the patient subsidized dialysis and so on. So I can go on, but long and short of what I'm trying to highlight and articulate here is that this is also a full-fledged involved activity, right from my side to our board members to our employees. All of us are fully involved. We spent close to, this year we will be spending close to 22 odd crore rupees. Our budget is about 22-24 crore rupees on the CSR side. This is 2% of last 3 years PAT that we spend every year, and we spend on activities which we own up completely rather than giving the money to the NGOs or third person to just do a perfunctory job.
Okay, so getting into budget, or maybe one more question on when you talked about inclusiveness. So you have offices all over.
Yep.
So nowadays, yesterday I heard that budget was telecast in some 5 languages. So you have offices in West, East, everywhere. So anything on vernacular, the way you talk to your customer, you offer your product solutions. Is there anything you are doing there?
So I think in the particularly investment space and broking space, largely English is a well acceptable language. So a lot of these we actually tried some time back to create a multilingual application few years ago. I think this was some 8-9 years ago. We made an attempt to do a multilingual application in some 10-12 languages, but probably it was ahead of its time and we couldn't take that forward, so we had to sunset that application. But we are really working on how do we engage with our customers, because if you have to engage with our customers, then you need to speak their language. So through the different method, different routes, I think we'll come out with the combinations whereby we can serve them, but it's still at a nascent stages. But we do have offices locally. They talk to them in their languages only. They service them. Actually, comfort get developed at when they meet and when they understand each other, and then when they talk about in their specific languages.
Yeah, when they visit the branch and all that.
Absolutely.
That,
so
that
we have a
part
distribution available all over India, and customers do get service locally. Even in our customer care unit, we have multilingual staff members, and as and when customers are more comfortable in talking in their language, we are more than happy to help them in their language.
Great, and I would not lose this opportunity. Now you are here, your reaction on budget, and everything was about capital market, and your view, what is going to happen now? Customer rahega ya bhag jayega? Investor.
I think the overall, if you look at it, after the third term election of NDA government, people were skeptical whether government will walk the path of populist. In fact, when Nirmala Sitharaman probably was approaching this budget, there was a big dichotomy for her also to look at it, whether she needs to boost the consumption, go more populist, talk more about the job creations and rural economy, and target the voters and support the probably partners more and so on. But at the same time, she had the responsibility to ensure that there is a strict adherence to the fiscal path also, and also ensure that we are investing on the long-term initiatives like infrastructure, capex, and so on, so that it would provide a sustainable growth. To that extent, I think the entire ministry and finance minister has done a commendable job. She could able to strike a fine balance of. We have seen that the narrative got changed from large capex to more job creation, more skill building, which is something very good. So it's to that extent it is quite inclusive, and at the same time there is no disruption on the fiscal path. So 4.9% of the fiscal deficit, I think is on the annual, and we'll probably do better than that also, because I was looking at the fiscal math. So there is a conservatism in the entire budgeting exercise. They have budgeted lesser taxes at even lesser than the probably run rate of GST we are achieving, and even in the last quarter or so, whatever data we got on advanced taxes, the buoyancy is there in the direct taxes and corporate taxes also. To that extent, I think they are very conservative in their estimates. So good job done there as also. It's always good to undercommit and over-deliver. Even on the nominal GDP side, they have taken 7% real GDP, 6.8 to 7% real GDP, and inflation of 3.5% to target 10.5% nominal GDP. My take is that inflation will be more than that, 4% or so. and even we may do better than the real GDP of 6.8%. So to that extent, I think we'll have a higher nominal GDP, maybe close to 11%, not 10.5%. So from that point of view, they have been really conservative. Yes, there has been some disappointment on the capital market side. STT increase would really be a dampener for the market, particularly derivative space. But all of us understand and appreciate this, that in last few years, particularly post-COVID, we have seen exuberance and excessive participation in the derivative space. So for any government, this can be an area of concern when you see so much speculative activities are happening. So that's where there was some action that was required. So this would really help, and some more action SEBI has already taken. SEBI will take more action, and that culmination of all these things will bring in more sanity to the derivatives, futures and options. And I don't see that the change in the long-term capital gain tax and short-term capital gain tax will be a big dampener. Actually, what India was looking forward for is that some kind of a continuity and some kind of a clarity on the long-term capital gain for different asset classes and not just equity alone. Some were taxed, some were long-term and 1 year, some were at 2 years, some were at 3 years. Now all that is demystified and very clear. Listed equity, long-term capital gains means a holding period of 12 months. For all other asset, holding period of 24 months, and that's about it. And long-term capital gains tax at 12.5% and short-term capital gain are taxed at 20%. So that way I think it has made life more simpler. Clearly they mentioned in the post budget conference also there won't be many changes also. So whenever you get a certainty of the taxation regime, I think that's good for the economy and that's good for a country at large.
So you are saying there is a structure now. So
yeah, there is a structure, there is a certainty. So to that extent, I believe that it's a step in right direction, though it will impact a little bit sentiments for few days, but I think there's enough and more liquidity that is available in the market. This is what I was talking few minutes back, equitization of savings. Earlier Indians were investing largely their savings into physical assets, physical gold, real estate and so on. Now we've seen that people are investing more into financial assets, and equity is a preferred financial asset at this juncture. If you see more volatility, probably they'll switch from one financial asset to another financial asset, but financialization of savings are here to stay and will grow. And we've seen also this happening in the various other countries also. Whenever a country moved from a $2,500 per capita to a $10,000 per capita transition, in this process we see significant changes. One is financialization of savings, equitization of investment, the other is formalization of economy. I think we miss out on many of these things. If you look at it, the GST in last 8 years or so, GST has been implemented and we have achieved a tremendous success in the implementation of GST that has made India as one market. Earlier there were different markets in India, the product and prices were different in each state. Still we have it for the petroleum products, still different prices in different states. I think sooner than later that will also come in the gamut of GST and we'll have a one price. To your understanding, United States of America is not able to achieve the same. They don't have one GST rate for them for one country. They have a different different rates for the different states for them also. It's hard to achieve this kind of thing. And then another big mega multi-decadal trend is energy transition. So you see we moved on to LEDs, to now talking about hydrogen, EV. There are incentives on energy transition also, and that's some of these multi-decadal trend would be will take India to a Viksit Bharat by 2047.
So I love this equitization of savings. So before we open for Q&A, any last piece of advice? You have already given a lot of lessons. Anything which you want to add or anything comes to
I think when you will work in the corporate world, everything will not be hunky-dory for you. you will face a lot of rejections, you will face a lot of headwinds, but I think perseverance and no means not yet, if you follow, then you will be able to sail through.
Great, thank you. Thank you for enlightening us. Okay, time for questions. Raise your hand. Who has got the mic? On the second row here.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. I wanted to know what is HDFC Securities' strategy for regarding crypto and AI, because you said HDFC Securities already have implemented AI in various aspects.
So in India is not a regulated asset. So we have no strategy for crypto because we deal only in the regulated assets. As far as generative AI and AI, I think these two are a very different terms. First of all, artificial intelligence has been there in the industry for many decades. Some of the industries were using it in their artificial intelligence. We've also been using it for optimizing our operations, certain process flows and certain activities. Just to give you a simple example, where we've been using the artificial intelligences. Let's say you are filling up the entire form through digital journey. Somebody has to verify that. But if all your name in the Aadhaar card, your PAN card, everything matches, then it get auto approved in the system because AI is taking care of that. All these all these things are matching, auto approvals are there, and no human interventions are required. This is an example of how you can leverage it. Similarly, on our customer cares, we've been receiving a lot of emails, and there are standard requirements from the customers. Customer may write a one-page email, but they look for in a nutshell, they are looking forward for a P&L statement. So there is artificial intelligence, robotic process automation that helps us to read these emails on a real-time basis, understand that the customer is looking forward for a P&L statement, immediately respond to that and send those statements to the customers. These are few examples where we have been using the artificial intelligence. Generative AI is a very new thing. We are looking forward to optimize generative AI and use it for the portfolio optimization. I think the single largest requirement our customers have is to optimize their portfolio. You know, you don't get every day of fresh funds to invest in the market. You have certain finite corpus you want to invest into the stock market. You've already invested. Now new companies are listed, the budget has come, there are change in the taxation, there are changes in the preferences over the industry, how a customer should optimize their portfolio, do they have a concentrated portfolio, how do we help them to optimize those portfolios. That's where we will be using the generative AI. There are many more use cases we are working on, but it will take some time. So the only change has happened from last year to now is that earlier we were only discussing, now we are working on those use cases. There are resources allocated for those use cases.
So I didn't ask this question because I didn't ask this crypto question because I was sure that someone is going to ask because this youngster, they love crypto. Yeah.
I know.
Next, yeah, same row. Yeah.
Sir, I guess.
Acha, sir, somebody else. Okay, you can. One question from there.
So I wanted
Second,
to ask
yeah.
that since the per capita income has increased, so the second tier cities are also now investing in capital markets. So what's your strategy over there? How is HDFC Securities approaching the second tier cities and third tier cities?
So I think the jam trinity has made India as a very large market and one market. So today it doesn't matter whether you are sitting in metro, tier 2, tier 3 or even in a remote village also. With Aadhaar, Jan Dhan and mobile phone, you can open an account through digital journey. All our accounts that we today set up is through digital journey. 5 to 6 minutes you are able to open an account. No paperwork is required. Next day once the unique client code get approved by the exchanges, you can start doing the transaction. So that way, for us to service the entire India, all possible PIN code, it's very simple, and largely the credit goes to the Jandan, Aadhaar and mobile phones. So that way, that is one way of looking at it. And the second way is through the distribution. We have a distribution whereby we locally engage with them, service them, do some kind of a seminars, engagement with them, and that's how we engage with them.
Yeah. Okay.
In fact, for most of the players in the e-com side, quick com side, India is becoming a large market because now through different channels, different routes, they can service the entire India and not just for the financial entities also. I thought I'll just share with you this as well.
So good evening, sir. As we spoke about the budget, now there was a scheme for students like internship scheme which can be done through companies through their CSR fund. So what's your view on this, and do SDFCs have any future plans coming for the internship for the students according to that?
So till before this budget, we were not allowed to use CSR budget for on any kind of an employee or customer activities. There was a particular framework. Now that something has come up in the yesterday's budget, I am yet to read the fine print, but I'm sure we will look at it, and if we are allowed to use the CSR budgets to focus more on the education, internship, we will do that. We were doing it in a different forms and shape in the education in any case, but we will explore this also as an option. I think it's a good initiative, and most of the corporates will latch on to it. In fact, at HDFC Bank, I know that we have created institutes to upskill many people, many students on different roles, like those who lead their studies in the 8th standard, 10th standard and do not complete their education. How do we skill them to do a salesperson's job? How do we skill them to do some better job other than which they can't do today? We have skilling institutes for them, and we are working on them. So those are covered in the CSR already.
Good afternoon, sir. First of all, thank you for this motivating lecture. Second, sir, I want to ask about, like you have worked for 34 to 35 years, I have checked on your LinkedIn. So, sir, what is the motivation and what is the mindset that keeps you going all these years? Thank you.
Yes, I started working immediately after my BCom honors, and thank you for reminding me I am too old.
Yeah. And what is beyond work? I am adding.
I know.
What else you do other than the work?
I think I mentioned very clearly in the beginning that if you like what you do, if you are passionate about something what you do, nothing better than that. So I love capital markets, I like investment ecosystem, I love to work with large team. I mentioned that as well. I always wanted to work with a large number of people. So once somebody asked me, can you define yourself as a person in a one word? Attempt it. You will find it very difficult, but I am not challenging you. So I defined, I think this was 25-30 years ago, I said aeroplane, and that trainer asked me why aeroplane, because I want to fly high and take many more people along, not like on a jet plane where you're just alone only. So that's something I said at that particular forum. This was a small training program, but kind of a, this is my personality. I want to work in a large team with large set of people and in a larger roles and so on. So that's what keep me driving. The other thing is that our industry is going through so many challenges, changes, and it's so dynamic that every day you wake up with 10 different challenges and 10 different opportunities also. So that is also one reason that helps us to, all of us to be on our toes and keep us going. On personal side, I think I kind of live very split personalities in office. You need to be more formal, you need to be more articulate and always more composed. But in my personal space, I am happy-go-lucky family person and enjoy my fitness regime, enjoy my time with my family and acquaintances and keep life very simple. Yeah.
So I have traveled with him, so I know whatever he's saying is true. Okay, so there are two students who are raising hand. One is this Chelsea, and then third we will take.
So good evening, Dhiraj.
Okay,
sir,
so
and
after that you. Yeah.
thank you for your takeaways. Now my question is on the flip side of today's discussion, which is in your career, what is the shift in client psyche that you've witnessed? If you could share 2 or 3 takeaways and how they've responded to change in terms of investment and wealth creation.
Fantastic. I think a very good question. So thank you for asking me this question. One thing that I have seen changing in the customer's expectation is they are looking forward for a proposition and not the brand anymore. So if you look at it today also, if you go to Swiggy or if you go to any other place, you will see where is the value, where from I order, where will I get more cashback, where will I get more discounts, what is the value proposition offered by a particular restaurant or the application. So you are more value focused, you are more proposition focused and not so much married to the brand. So that is a big change or big shift in the customers' expectations.
Good evening.
I think two of them also have mics. So who? Bhavna, you
please.
Mic is not. You have to come out, yeah.
So I was reading about the CrowdStrike outage that happened recently, but I was reading that HDFC Securities uses AWS clouding software. So, but this really did bring up how this is a big issue in the industry. So how does HDFC Securities tackle this? I have 2 questions for you. First is this, and if you want, I can ask this the second question right now, or I can go ahead. The second question is, what is the next big vision? You were talking about a lot of market trends. So keeping that in mind, what is the next big vision as the CEO of HDFC Securities?
Yep. So first question first. On CrowdStrike, I think we had a cyber issue where many airlines, many companies have got disruption. Cyber security risk is a very big challenge. Everyone is grappling with it. You need to keep stay ahead of the curve so that you can keep navigating it. And that's what we do. We work with the global partners on these areas. And earlier we were on a monolithic architecture whereby you have hard servers, etc. But if you are in a business like broking or you need to be more agile, you need to augment more resources at no time, because in our business it's very different than the banking business. I'll explain you in 2 seconds and make you understand. 9:15 when market opens, everybody is looking forward to transact in the market, and 3:30 market closes, and every fraction of second the value of your transaction is going to change because the price is changing. Price discovery is happening at the exchange in every nanosecond. So from that point of view, it is very different industry than in the banking industry. Whereas in bank, if I have to transfer, Dhiraj has to transfer money to Arun, if I am able to do it at 9:15 or able to do it at 10 o'clock also, the transaction value is not changing. I have to transfer 1,000 rupees, I will transfer 1,000 rupees only. Only experience is getting compromised because I was supposed to do it 45 minutes before, now I am able to do 45 minutes after. But that's it. But in our industry, every second prices are changing. So you need to augment the resources, you need to have an agile. So we took this call to move to the cloud architecture so that we can augment resources very well. It's like we are sitting in this auditorium. Suppose for some reason we need to exit from this room, so everything, many doors can automatically be opened and wall can be dismantled. That is the kind of augmentation it is possible in the cloud. You can ask for as many servers as you want and handle the concurrency and deal with the same. So that's what we have done. In terms of our vision for the next decade or so, I strongly believe that we haven't scratched surface in the financialization of the savings and equitization of savings. Still only about 6% of our Indians invest into the capital market, and the same number for China is 14%, and the same number for Japan is 45%, and same number for US is 60% plus. So a long way to go in terms of increasing the penetration. So work on the product proposition so that we can create a compelling proposition for our customers to stay engaged with us. I think the whole thought process is to design, coin and serve proposition. And proposition doesn't mean the only pricing. It is product, it's platform, it is the servicing ecosystem, it is the advisory ecosystem. So whole proposition, that's where our energies are going.
Good evening, sir. So my question is, as budget came out yesterday and the taxation rates were hiked for both short term and long term, specifically with respect to long term taxes, they took away the biggest shield, that is indexation. Do you think that would hamper the value creation when it comes to long term investing, and will there be a shift in investing patterns due to it?
So indexation benefits were available for real estate and some other asset classes like gold. Now there are, from yesterday, there are no indexation benefits. Only clarification that came for the real estate, that for old properties you can take a fair value of those properties as on 2001, and that means there will be a grandfathering up to 2001, and that price, that's it, and no indexation benefit will be available. For properties that are really very, very old, okay, and they were purchased at few thousand rupees, probably few hundred rupees also, you have to take a fair value of 2001, and properties that were acquired between 2001 to 2005 or 6, probably there will be some loss in, you have to shell out more capital gains at 12.5%, leaving the indexation benefit. But other than that, I think for all the properties it will be, there will be no problems, because 12.5% is less than the 20%, so indexation can, with indexation or without indexation. We have done some simulation yesterday for real estate. I can share with you that report if you wish to read that. We don't see this as a big problem. Increasingly for future, I think if you are not holding a property for more than 20 years, then there is no problem. If you are holding a property for more than 20-30 years, then indexation might have been better. But if you are holding the property for up to 20 years time, and you are having a CAGR of close to 8 to 9% growth, then you are fine, you are neutral to the both taxation. Bit complicated.
Yeah.
Thank you for a very nice sharing and conversations. I have two questions for you. The first one is, in your course of your long career, did you have any failures, and what lessons can you share from them? And the second is, our theme is to embrace change and stay relevant. And in the course of your 30 years career, there would be changes. But as I see these students embarking on the career, there will be the changes at a much faster pace than before. So what advice would you have for them?
Failures are part and parcel of your journey, any journey. And failures are temporary. I have said few minutes back that no means not yet. So whenever you want to pursue certain idea, certain initiative, and there are difference of opinions on the same, you will have to forego that idea for the time being. You may treat that as a failure and crib about it and struggle with the same, or you may say that, look, I will come better prepared with the idea. I would probably do more work on the same and navigate it better. So enough and more instances were there in my life where I've been told, no, you can't do this. This is not allowed by compliance. This is not allowed in the organization. This doesn't go with the ethos. There were personal biases, interests also of the people who would have said no to us, but you keep navigating. My take is that don't take all these things so much to the heart. It's part and parcel of life. You may have a limited understanding also. Maybe the other person who's guiding you at that time have a better perspective at a vantage point. They may see a better perspective on the same also. So it's about adaptability. It's about being flexible and not getting married to your own idea also is a good suggestion to follow in the corporate world. Having said that, keep pursuing your idea, keep working on the same, and at some day you will see the light at the end of the tunnel and you will feel good about it. So that's something you can do. I think you got to keep investing in yourself all the time. The best investment one can do is to invest in yourself. When you were introducing me, you mentioned about my advanced management program. I did that in IIM Bangalore in 2013. Okay, I was managing a job size which people would envy for. I was managing about 1,000 odd branches for HDFC Bank at that time, managing about 8,000 people at that time, and then I was pursuing that as a course. And I reached out my HR at that time and I told them, look, I just want to study and I don't need qualification. I'm a qualified chartered accountant. I have post-graduation qualification. I just want to have a better and a different perspective on certain areas, and this is what I want to do. I don't need any help. I just need I need to leverage my accumulated leads also, and I just did that. So I think that was a fascinating experience. Why? I'll tell you. You are pursuing your academic with the objective of clearing your academic. You want to take a degree. I didn't do it for degree at that time. When I was doing CA, my first and foremost and single largest aim was to become chartered accountant. Whether you learn or you don't learn, become a chartered accountant. But when I did my advanced management program, the perspective was very different. I wanted to learn and worked with the different industries, different set of people, because out of what 30 odd students we had, there was nobody from financial services. Being in Bangalore, all of them were from IT and IT related companies, so it was a great experience for me.
Yeah. So we can take one or two questions maybe.
Hello.
So my name is Isha Pujari, and firstly I'd like to thank you for coming to our campus and sharing your insights with us. I'd like to move the conversation to HR a bit. I know that Arun sir here has spearheaded a lot of HR initiatives, being the MDC of Axis Securities. So what are some unique HR practices that HDFC Securities follow that keeps it as a pioneer in the industry?
I think many new initiatives we have taken. One thing I'll talk about from the learning and development point of view, I think most of the companies have very templated learning and development program. Most of them are digitized also through the L&D initiatives. But what I thought, we are in a knowledge industry, so we need to allow people to learn skill sets that are relevant for them. So that's where we allowed them to choose their own courses, choose their own training programs and participate in them. I believe that if you participate in a cross industry kind of a learning and development program, you get to learn more from the peer group than the faculty also. So some of those initiatives we have taken. We have work from home policy, we have work from anywhere policy, like 300 plus people who are working on digital account opening site for us. They have never visited our office. They are working from home and working from anywhere for that matter. So my take is that in HR, flexibility is a new perk. So you have to give flexibility to your colleagues because they may have a different circumstances, and if you support them, then they'll be able to give you a better output. And then I think on a financial side, on a lot of initiatives like insurance for our employees and providing drivers along with the car so that they can optimize their work. Some of these initiatives we have taken to ensure that they are more safe. Many of my senior colleagues, I saw that though they have a well company car, but were always talking on the phone while driving because this is a busy life for them. So we thought that within the same allowance of the petrol, we will give them a driver facility also. They can choose to employ a driver and we will pay for that. So some of these initiatives. So actually, you know, I can go on and tell you more specific initiatives also, but heart of heart, I think you start thinking about the employees, what is of their interest. Once you do that, then you keep coming out with a very practical solution. Like I'll quote one more example. Like for all our women employees, we have crèche facility. Either we have a crèche facility at our office, or we've said that you can employ even a nanny. We know that people in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, there are no big good crèche facilities are available. They don't feel safe also to leave your toddler to these places. So what we said that you employ a nanny, we'll pay you for that nanny and you work. So some of these initiatives, I can say.
Okay, so
hello, sir.
Okay, last.
Hello, sir. Dhiraj, sir. Good evening. Sir, I wanted to know about private equity because what we have seen in the recent decade that mutual fund industry has been growing tremendously, and with the domestic money coming in, do we think that there's also the same potential in private equity in the coming decade? Because a newer asset class is this, and is SEBI in a mood to promote this? And also, as an MBA student, what would be the career path for the same?
I think private equity is already doing very well in India. We have more than 100 unicorns in India, and these are all incubated by with the private equity funds largely. So it's a great place. I think it promotes a lot of innovation. It encourages a lot of new ideas. So from that point of view, it's already doing well, and I see a huge scope for private equity. We have all structures in place to encourage private equity capital in India, and we need more and more private equity capital in India to unleash the true potential of our people.
Okay, I think for want of time, we should stop here. And so thank you, Dhiraj, for sharing your experiences and great insights.
That was really enlightening. It was great listening to you. Now, on behalf of KJ Somaiya Institute of Management, I would request Professor Avadut Patwardhan to express our gratitude, sir.
It's my pleasure and honor to present this scroll to you. It consists of the great legacy of KJ Somaiya, which is more than 40 years, and also consisting of Somaiya Vidya Vihar University's pride, that is our logo. So let me read it out for you. Careers and Conversations, KJ Somaiya Institute of Management. To Dhiraj Relli. Your remarkable journey in the financial service industry, spanning over 3 decades, is a testament to your unwavering dedication, expertise, and exceptional leadership. In diverse settings, your talent blooms, driving success, fostering changes, and leaving indelible marks. Your never give up mindset is marked by a relentless pursuit of goals. It requires courage to take risks, willingness to adapt, and ability to learn from mistakes. It means getting up each time you fall and continuing to push forward, knowing that every effort brings you closer to your dreams. From SR Batley Boy and Company to HDFC Securities, your torch brings transformation, growth, and new heights. At HDFC Securities, you are the guiding star, who is steering with visionary insights, strategic acumen, commendable leadership, and innovation. Your work inspires and paves the way for future leaders in the industry and academia alike. We are honored and privileged of having you with us, and we sincerely hope to have the opportunity to welcome you back in the future. Sincerely, KJ Somaiya Institute of Management, dated 25th of July 2024.
Very well captured, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Sir. Arun sir, come. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was great pleasure.
My pleasure.
To listening to you.
Thank you. I just spoke.
Yeah, I would also request Priyanshu to come forward with the mug, which we would like you, sir, to sign as a memento for us. On the face of it, sir. No, the other side. Yes, so on a parting note, I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to Mr. Dhiraj Relli for gracing us with his presence and enlightening us with such words of wisdom. I would also like to thank Raman sir, who has always been supportive of all student activities in spite of his hectic schedule. Thank you, sir, for your presence. I'd like to thank my sincere gratitude to Arun sir for his valuable contribution to the first guest lectures initiative of this season. Your insights have been truly remarkable. I would also like to extend thanks to Arvind sir, Krupa ma'am, and Minal ma'am and the technical team for ensuring the success of the event and their remarkable efforts. Furthermore, I want to acknowledge the continuous support of the PR and Branding Committee as well as the Alumni Committee. To everyone present here, student and faculty, I thank you all for joining us for this event. Now we'll stop the live streaming. Thank you for your cooperation. Now I request everyone to exit in an orderly manner, collecting the high tea coupons at the exit. Thank you.